Hello and welcome, or welcome back to King Note Gaming. It is I, King Note, and we're back on my island of Gavotte today with this little section here, which is going to be a little cafe. I didn't mean to rhyme, but there it is. I'm filling in this section with in-game paths so it shows up on the map, and I'm making this little cliff face area because it's going to be a fake building, which I almost never do. I need to do more of them because they're so much easier. Anyway, but yeah, I went back and forth a lot about how I wanted to set this up, but at this point I'm just like putting items down and seeing what they look like. I also make a few custom designs for this build, so I hope you enjoy that. Also, Miss Sydney here was driving me crazy because she was right next to that medieval building site I was trying to move. Anyway, it's custom design time. The first one I'm making here is going to be like a tile set for the cafe. I want it to be like purple and black, which is two of the main colors on this island. And I think this one turned out nice. I went for kind of a marble texture here, which once I learned how to make a marble texture in this game, I've been going crazy with it because it's actually not as hard as you would expect. I always start with the number 2 sized brush, so it's like the 2x2 square, and just put random squares of a mid-tone color on top of the lightest color, and then you'd put single darker things and make it kind of look like, I don't know, tree branches or veins or something to that extent, and then put little darker dots kind of at the intersections of it so it looks like it's kind of darker in certain areas because that's how marble looks. So there's my little piece of advice here for making marble pathing. I did that with my paths on my trading island of Tokata as well, and would recommend. It's actually so easy. It's not as hard as it looks or sounds. But yeah, here I'm like putting in a darker part of the tile. I don't want it to go like super black because obviously you wouldn't be able to see the differences between the colors very easily. But I just made it, slightly darker than the other ones, and I think it turned out really nice. It's dark enough to where you can tell that they're two different colors, but it's not like super harsh contrast, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was a pretty simple tile. I think the like checkerboard tiles are really easy to make, and they look really nice. So, and they're obviously they work together as a perfect tile. So checkerboard tiles would recommend as a custom design to use. And now it's time to make another custom design. This time I'm making a little coffee shelf, because obviously this is a cafe, so I wanted to like a little cafe kind of signage. I had to really adjust the colors on this one, but I think it turned out nice. It's like not the most complicated design I've ever made, but it works. And it's only in this one build, so it's not like the biggest deal because I'm not going to use it everywhere. I might use the purple tiles again elsewhere, but the next few, well, the cafe-specific designs I'm only going to use for this build. But yeah, I made like the little steam lines there with a little coffee cup, and then I used the symmetry tool to make another coffee cup on the other side of the shelf. And it mirrors it, so it looks a little bit more interesting. And then I'm adding some text here for Café. I think I made the letters way too big at first, but I ended up fixing it. Oh, no, it was fine. I spaced it out just fine. Anyway, pretty simple little cafe shelf design. And then I went over and took down all of those items so I could put down the new checkerboard tile that I just made, which I think turned out really nice. I like how it, obviously it's going to match together perfectly because it's just a checkerboard, but it's satisfying to see it work together, especially since I used the same color palette as the road. It just looks really nice together. And that's another big tip I have, is you make a pattern, like a road design, that you know you're going to use that color elsewhere, just copy and paste that pattern, and then you can save all of those custom colors you made. And then I finished up putting checkerboards on that top part here, and now we are making another design with the same color palette as the shelving, which is going to be a little logo for the coffee shop. This island is like European inspired, but also very Halloween because I love Halloween. So this is going to be the Witch's Brew coffee, which I think is really cute. So I'm making a little witch here with the hat. I like working with extremely limited color palettes too, so I like how this turned out. And I want it to be like recognizable as a logo. I might make more logos for this island too, because it's fun, you know? I don't make a lot of like mini shops very often, which I'm probably going to change that. I'm going to change that especially on this island. And I end up changing the bottom part a couple times because I got the spacing really wrong. But we'll get to that soon. Yeah, here I had to erase those because, oops, I put it way too far to the right. Because I want it to be Witch's Brew Café, which I get all the letters in here, thankfully. Pixel art letters are very finicky, and the spacing the spacing is something. So even if you're like, okay, I know I can fit all this in here, it's still kind of finicky. But we get it in the end. I kind of have to have almost no spacing between Brew and Cafe, but it works well. It worked. And then this next pattern, I am making a glass door. I've seen a lot of people make these, and they are so cool, and make a simple panel to look like a glass store kind of door. So I'm just going off of memory of what I've seen other people do. I'm not looking at a reference for this at all. But it's pretty simple. You just make it look like there's like a shine on the door because it's glass. And then you make it black so it just blends in. And then I'm adding some shading here. I realized at that point that I couldn't do the symmetrical shading because obviously it's not fully symmetrical. And then I take that same glass door and I turn it into a little neon sign for the cafe, which I think this turned out so well. Like, it legitimately looks like it's glowing in the end, and I don't know how I did that so intuitively. Well, I do know why I did that so intuitively. I draw a lot. I do art outside of custom designs, and that really helps. But yeah, adding like the little lighter dots for fluctuations in color really makes it pop and look like it's actually like a neon sign. So, and it only took 3 colors. It's not as hard as it looks. I always say this with custom designs because I want to encourage everyone to actually try to make their own. Even if you're just like following somebody else's process, even practicing like that, you can kind of get some tools to intuitively do it yourself. But like, look at that! It's a little neon sign! I love it! It turned out really cute. And I kind of had to adjust the panel colors because I changed one of the ones that I used previously on accident, but oh well. I really like how that design turned out. And then the back and forth with the loft beds. So I had 2 like reddish-brown loft beds in my storage, and I also had black ones, and I could not make up my mind, well I did in the end obviously, between the red ones and the black ones, because I wanted to use some like wood tones, but mostly black for this build. So it was a process of me figuring out how in the actual hell am I going to do this. But again, it turns out at the end, obviously this is a finished speed build, so the end turns out. But I had to like build up cliffs on both edges and figured out that I needed more cliffs actually. I did not follow anybody's guides. I'll put it that way. I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't look at anyone's builds while I was doing this. I just kind of winged it. I have seen a lot of people's really good tutorials on how to make fake buildings, like Tropikitch, who is the best at that. But for whatever reason, I'm like, no, I've seen them before. I know how to do this. And then, of course, it took me like 2 hours. To be fair, it took me even longer because I had to customize all of these simple panels, and I had to go back and forth and figure out, oh, did I have enough simple panels for this one part? Like here, where I had to figure out, oh, geez, I wanted like one of the Café and one of the Witch's Brew on each side, so it's like every other one. Then we finally got that. But yeah, lots of trips to the alpacas today. Too many alpaca trips. I'll probably have to do more, because I got a whole bunch of items from my other island, and I still need to customize those, and I don't know what other patterns I'm going to make in the future. I swear, like, 99% of my bells go to Reese and Cyrus at this point. And now I finally decide on the black ones, because everything else did not... the red ones weren't working like I thought they were, because they were too red-toned, and the brown is too... It's more of a cool brown. It's not super warm, but... Well, it's not, like, cold, but it's not... You know what I mean. It's not the... It doesn't match. But yeah, look how the Café side turned out. It is so cute. I love it. I love it a lot. I probably should have put a simple panel in front of that second one so it doesn't have the Café logo twice, but it's too late now. I'm not changing it. It looks fine. But yeah, that's how it's turning out thus far. I do obviously change it a little bit more because we do have some more of the video, but that's the basic design of it. And now here I'm adding the little seating area, because obviously I have a whole bunch of space in front, so they have an outdoor seating area as well. And then I use these counter chairs because I like the combination of the black and the wood. I think it looks really nice together. So it turned out. Obviously the counter chairs there are wood, but they also have the black base. And then I put some stalls up, because it's hard to see the Witch's Brew logo at the very top unless you're at the double camera angle. So I added the little stalls there as kind of like a canopy. And now I'm adding in all of the Café related items. Like the busing station is super cute. I kind of wish that the tray table wasn't green, but I can't do much about that. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you customize that separately. And then I'm putting in some coffee, some iced coffee, some coffee cups. And then I have like the cream and sugar and stuff on the little stalls. And I think it turned out really cute. Anyway, that's the end of the speed build. I hope you enjoy the last glamour shots. See y'all next time.